Please welcome ALEC 2025 National Chair, West Virginia Senator Patricia Rucker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We were waiting for the last task force from the morning to end. I hope everyone's week has been memorable and filled with inspiration, new ideas, and real policy solutions that you can take back home. After talking with many of you who are first-time attendees, I just want to say something that is from the heart, not on a script. When I first came to ALEC, I wasn't certain what the organization was about. It was a little bit overwhelming, so many choices, so many things to do, so many opportunities, and it was like drinking from a fire hose. I mean, just so much, and it was amazing. Several things I felt that first time I came to an ALEC conference was, wow, I'm not the only one that thinks like this. Secondly, it brought to mind the reason for why I ran in the first place. So for some of us, we ran because we were inspired by God to do this. For some of us, we were talked into it. I will tell you, to me, coming to ALEC was God answering that prayer that I had. It's like, Lord, you want me to do this. How do I do it? Help me. I'm not certain, and I don't know. How am I going to, solve this issue, solve this problem? Well, ALEC provided for me a hand, that helping hand. The friends that I've made here are people that I can call and reach out to and ask, hey, how did you guys handle this in your state? The task force directors and chairs and the experts that ALEC provides are people that I can say, do you know of any other state that has this problem? I want you to remember, as you leave today, that ALEC and all the wonderful people here are here to help you. We are your helping hand. And I want you to please take that back with you and use the resources that ALEC provides and the many friendships that you've made to help you fulfill whatever it is God has asked you to do. To start the last session of our annual meeting, I would like to invite someone very special to help us begin this lunch with prayer. Please join me in welcoming Ralph Drollinger from Capital Ministries.
Well, let's bow our heads in prayer. Great to see you today. Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for ALEC and for the light that it shines in all of our state capitals. So many of its precepts are based upon your holy writ. So many of its precepts are based upon tethering itself to the immutable, infallible, and plenarily inspired Word of God. And we're grateful, too, for the way you're raising up Bible teachers in each of these capitals, men who can exposit your word and make it applicable to the life of a public servant. May you continue to do that in ways that are exceeding abundantly beyond all that we ask or think, according to your power that dwells within us. And we give you thanks for the new emerging cabinet member Bible study in D.C. and for the Zoom Bible study with now 10 governors who meet regularly, and the fact that Mike Braun is a regular part of that governor's Zoom Bible study, and for the Senate member Bible study and the House member Bible study. May there be emerging strong Bible studies in every one of our state capitals. Help these members here to be the insiders that usher in and support a good Bible expositor for your glory, their edification, and the sustenance of their respective state. We give you the praise and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Ralph. It's fitting that we close our time together here in Indianapolis by hearing from one of the most respected companies in American healthcare. Eli Lilly. Earlier this week, several ALEC members had the opportunity to tour the Lilly facility just a few minutes from here. What we saw there was remarkable. Innovation, precision, and a commitment to making life better through science and entrepreneurship. To tell us more, please welcome back Speaker Houston to the stage.
Well, good afternoon, and I hope you had a wonderful time here in Indianapolis. On our last luncheon, we're so blessed to hear from a company that's meant so much to Indiana. For almost 150 years, Eli Lilly has been a critical corporate partner for not just the city of Indianapolis, but the entire state. I'm not sure I could name a company in the country that has meant as much to a state as Eli Lilly has meant to Indiana. And now is the world's most valued pharmaceutical company in the world. We're seeing them make investments across the entire country. They've committed $50 billion in new investments since 2020, and we're pleased to say over $10 billion of those dollars are here in Indiana. And Eli Lilly's on an incredible role, producing life-saving and life-changing drugs almost constantly now, and being recognized as one of the world's great leading pharmaceutical companies for innovation and new products. I'm so excited to get to introduce their Vice President of Governmental Affairs, Sean O'Neill, so we can hear more about what Eli Lilly is doing and their thoughts for this ALEC conference. Welcome, Sean, and look forward to hearing from you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank all of you for having us here today. We really appreciate it. I was able to talk to some of you out at the coffee shop, and it was great to hear about some of your ideas and some of your experiences this week at what looks to be a fantastic conference. I'm really glad that some of you got to visit our facility down the road. For those of you who didn't, we invite you back anytime. And for those of you who don't live in Indiana, I'll talk about some of the other places we have facility and welcome you to those as well. But as the speaker said, my name's Sean O'Neill. I'm the Senior Vice President of Global Government Affairs at Eli Lilly, and you're right, it's just right down the road, and we're happy that we've been here and proud that we've been here since 1876, and we'll be celebrating our 150th anniversary just next year. And we're proud to be one of the country's oldest medicine companies, and grateful still to call Indiana our home. Our mission's really simple. Is to make life better for people around the world through innovative medicines. We've developed more than 100 medicines, and last year alone, our medicines reached more than 58 million people around the world. Today, our treatments help people with cancer, chronic pain, and Alzheimer's. We're doing bold science, and much of that is happening right here in the heartland. Innovation isn't easy, though. It takes decades of research, thousands of scientists, and billions of dollars of investment. At Eli Lilly, we embrace that challenge. We've never shied away from high-stakes science because we know the dividends that it can pay and the life-changing effect it can have on patients, their caregivers, and their families. And our history proves that. In fact, our founder, Colonel Eli Lilly, never gave up. A Civil War veteran and a prisoner of war, he overcame a lot to found this company just a few blocks from here. After the war, he was forced to file bankruptcy because his business partner took all of the money. He experienced the tragic loss of his daughter and his wife. A few years later, he lost a second child to diphtheria, just a few years before Lilly, the company, found the cure. Through it all, our company has marched on, discovering and making insulin available when diabetes was a death sentence, mass-producing penicillin during World War II, saving countless lives. And over the past decade alone, we brought forward more than 20 new medicines aimed at treating today's most devastating conditions like Alzheimer's and cancer. And last year, after more than 30 years and $11 billion of research and dollars invested, we launched Kisunla. That's a treatment for early Alzheimer's disease. Kisunla is giving patients and family more time, and you simply cannot put a price tag on that. Now, I don't think anyone would have blamed us if we would have thought about walking away from that challenge. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of time. But that's not in our DNA. And that kind of persistence, decades in the making, is what defines us. And it's also what has propelled us forward. Nearly 10 years ago, we launched a new approach to R&D, focusing on better targets, faster decisions, and those same bold investments. This shift has led to game-changing treatments across multiple disease areas in our pipeline and in our portfolio. Today, we invest more than a quarter of our revenue back into R&D. This is an industry-leading example. And we've cut drug development nearly in half, from the industry average of 11 years now down to 6. And we're proud that our medicines are helping millions of people every year, and we continue to grow that. In 2020, as the speaker alluded to, we launched a significant U.S. capital expansion that now totals more than $50 billion committed to building, expanding, and acquiring manufacturing facilities across the country, with 10 active projects now underway. It's one of the largest manufacturing investments in our industry, creating thousands of jobs in engineering, biotech, and manufacturing. Part of that expansion includes a $13.5 billion investment in 2 manufacturing sites in nearby Lebanon, Indiana, one focused on obesity and diabetes, and the other on gene therapy medications. It also includes the construction of the Lilly Medicine Foundry, a first-of-its-kind facility dedicated to researching new ways of producing medicine, while also scaling up manufacturing of medicines for clinical trials. Upon completion of this manufacturing agenda, we'll be able to supply medicines for the U.S. market entirely from U.S.-based facilities. A big deal for all of us. And of course, we make medicine with safety first and quality always. Our manufacturing and quality team represents nearly 1/3 of our global company now. But policies matter, and that's what we want to talk a little bit about with you today, too. It can either make or break innovation. It can make or break innovation and discovery for patients. And here's the good news. Smarter state policy solutions reduce costs and improve patients' outcomes are at our fingertips. It starts by addressing inefficiencies in our healthcare system. We know, all of us know, that Americans pay too much for their medicines, and they struggle for healthcare because the middlemen profit from higher prices and markups. The same thing happens when foreign free riders profit from American innovation by forcing Americans to eat the costs. Patients are increasingly footing the bill instead of benefiting from the competition that the market promises. It's middlemen, like pharmacy benefit managers, that are driving high-cost drugs for Americans. PBMs and insurers profit from the complexity that they add to the system without sharing the profits with patients. In fact, an average of 65 cents of every dollar that our medicine generates goes to entities that played no role whatsoever in their development, including insurers, PBMs, and 340B hospital markups. It's important to note, patients don't pay manufacturers' price or typically benefit from the price concessions that manufacturers pay to middlemen. Rather, they're paying the price that PBMs and insurers set. This raises out-of-pocket costs at the pharmacy counter and limits access to needed treatments. If we want to lower drugs, we need to start with some real drivers. We need to ensure that patients benefit from the price concessions generated by manufacturer PBM negotiations. We need to de-link the revenue that PBMs generate off of list price, a perverse incentive that allows higher list price. We can increase transparency, and we can let patients with their doctors make healthcare decisions that are right for their treatment journey without the cumbersome use of utilization management. Next, I'd like to talk to you a little bit, if you'll bear with me, about the 340B program. 340B is a federal program, and it was intended to support patients that live in vulnerable populations. It now has exploded in size and has quickly become a $66 billion enterprise for large healthcare systems and their for-profit partners instead of the patients that it was designed to serve. In many cases, patients never see a dime of the savings that we provide for this program. This isn't just inefficient. I think you'll agree with me, it's wrong. And reforming the 340B program is common sense and requires Congress to act to restore the program to its original purpose, helping underserved patients. However, several states have adopted policies that actually enhance the misuse of the program. I'm happy to say Indiana is not one of those states, and instead has shown tremendous leadership by passing reforms that strengthen transparency and oversight of both PBMs and the 340B program. So thank you for that. And we're seeing a growing number of states pop up, moving faster than Washington, probably no surprise to anyone in here, to improve the system and make medicines more affordable. And we're doing our part too. Lilly was the first company to cap insulin out-of-pocket costs at $35 a month. We also cut our insulin prices by 70%, and in 2024, the average monthly out-of-pocket cost for patients taking Lilly insulin is $14.86. We're seeing now with the demand of obesity treatment surging that several affordability programs were necessary, and we've launched those here in the U.S. Today, Americans can access Mounjaro and Zepbound treatments for diabetes and obesity for as little as $25 a month. However, we're seeing that insurance companies are limiting access to our obesity medications, creating significant barriers. Many insurers continue to restrict coverage, leaving patients with high out-of-pocket costs. Through Lilly Direct, which some of you may be familiar with, it's our direct-to-consumer digital health platform, patients can access Zepbound at half the list price of other GLP medications. This helps limit the reliance on untested, unapproved alternatives, such as unlawful, mass-compounded drugs. We're committed to being part of the solution, and we look forward to partnering with you in driving this progress. And while states are leading, federal policy remains essential to sustaining innovation and supporting patient access. There's continued uncertainty, and I was talking to some of you about this actually, around tariffs on medicines, which have historically been excluded, and for good reason. Tariffs risk raising costs on medicines, disrupting supply, and reducing R&D investment. We're also concerned about the most favored nations concept, which some of you may have heard about, which would tie U.S. drug prices to countries that do much less research and innovation than the U.S. The U.S. currently leads the world in new medicines and availability to those medicines, with 85% access in the U.S. versus just 40% access for patients living in other developed countries. That's not what we want. That's not a number we want to strive to achieve. Instead of hurting American innovation, we should adopt policies instead that ensure countries pay their fair share, because right now, U.S. patients are subsidizing the rest of the world. Finally, we must also protect the U.S. patent system, which fuels both innovation and competition. Patents do not restrict competition, they enable them. In fact, more than 90% of the drugs that we take, that your constituents take, that our neighbors take, are now generics. And the strong patent system in the U.S. has helped support that. When we patent improvements like converting injections into pills, that's not abuse, that's progress. And weakening IP protections puts future cures and affordability at risk. At Lilly, we're not just developing medicines, we're building a healthy America. We believe in strong institutions, smart policies, and a competitive economy where innovation thrives. And we're grateful that we share that vision, those commitments and principles with ALEC. We're proud to treat chronic disease like obesity and diabetes. We're proud to help people reduce their risk of heart disease. And here at Lilly, we're proud that efforts to build a healthier America started here and have spread to other states where we have facilities, including California, Colorado, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Puerto Rico, and Wisconsin. And like we mentioned earlier, hang on because we're going to announce 4 more states this year. As we move ahead, we want to keep patients in mind. Patients like Amanda, a mom and registered dental assistant in rural Texas, who was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer 7 years ago. To receive her treatment at a doctor's office, she often must travel up to 3 hours and often has to spend the night in a hotel room before an early morning appointment. Lily's working on innovative oral treatments that could represent a welcome shift for Amanda and patients like her with the potential to offer treatments in a more manageable way. Of course, we can't do this alone. To get there, we need leaders like all of you, lawmakers who understand that progress is possible when we put patients first, when we value and protect innovation, and when we resist short-term fixes to long-term problems. So let's work together to build a policy environment where science thrives, businesses invest, and American patients have access to the best care in the world. We look forward to working with you for many years to come, and thank you again for having us.
Please welcome back Patricia Rucker.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you to everyone at Eli Lilly for your continued partnership, the vital work that you do, not just here in Indiana, but around the world. Here's a little known fact. ALEC's Academy Series, which now includes more than 15 training programs a year for lawmakers, actually began nearly a decade ago with a focus on healthcare. Hosted by our Health and Human Services Task Force, the very first Academy tackled one of the most complex challenges facing legislators, understanding the true cost of drug development and what it takes to bring life-saving treatments to the market. Eli Lilly was part of the early effort and remains a valued ALEC partner to this day. Innovation in healthcare is something that affects every single one of our states, and your work is helping deliver hope, treatment, and opportunity to countless families. With that, I invite you all to sit back and enjoy your lunch and reflect on the work you've accomplished and the work that lies ahead, and we will resume shortly.
Please welcome ALEC President and Chief Economist, Jonathan Williams.
Good afternoon again, everyone. Hopefully everybody's been having an incredible week. It is great to see the enthusiasm around our ALEC principles for free markets and limited government and federalism on full display. Today, I have the opportunity to introduce a longtime friend of ours here at ALEC. And while Senate duties and work with the Trump administration in Washington mean that he can't be with us physically today, Senator Jim Banks here from Indiana has sent us a video message talking about what he's working on in Washington, D.C. Some of you may know this, others you may not know this. We have over 110 members of the United States Congress who were ALEC members when they sat in the very seats that you are sitting in years past. And while most of America now knows U.S. Senator Jim Banks because of his high-profile work with President Donald Trump and his work chairing the Republican Policy Committee in Washington, D.C. when he served in the United States House of Representatives, what we at ALEC remember him for was his time as a state senator here in Indiana, getting elected in the huge conservative wave year of 2010. I remember working with Senator Banks on the ground here in Indiana. And at that point, Indiana had not become a right-to-work state yet. Indiana was still not in the top tier of states in economic outlook in rich states, poor states. And I remember Senator Banks so committed to the idea that Indiana needed to kill the hated death tax. And that was his passion. That's how he got involved with ALEC. And so without further ado, I'd like to turn to the screens to hear from one of our most fantastic ALEC alumni members, U.S. Senator Jim Banks here from Indiana.
Welcome to Indianapolis, ALEC. Senator Jim Banks here. As a proud ALEC alum, I'm so grateful to all of you for your friendship and leadership over the years. I gained so many relationships and good legislative ideas when I was a state senator because of my time with ALEC, because of all of you. As you know, it's been a busy time in Washington, D.C. With President Trump back in the White House and Republicans in charge of Congress, we are delivering for the American people each and every day. Just a few weeks ago, we passed President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, and tonight, Senate Republicans are celebrating with President Trump for dinner at the White House. This is the largest tax cut in American history for working families. The bill secures our borders, it makes record investments in America's military, and it unleashes our energy dominance. It also expands educational freedom by introducing new school choice tax credits, allowing students from all backgrounds to access high-quality education. But even more work is being done in Indianapolis at my state house. Thank you to the Indiana General Assembly for all of your hard work that you're doing at the state level, from balancing our budget to keeping Indiana on a strong fiscal footing. It's no wonder that more families than ever are fleeing high-tax states like Illinois and moving to Indiana for a better quality of life. Indiana was just ranked in the top 10 states for business. But even better than that, we just ranked third for our economic outlook in the latest Rich States, Poor States. I've relied on this guide for so many years, and I'm grateful to my friend Jonathan Williams and so many of you for your hard work on the Rich States, Poor States product. Thank you to Speaker Houston and Senate President Bray for your leadership on all of these important issues that continues to move Indiana forward. From banning China from owning our farmland, to banning sister city agreements with communist China, to keeping boys out of girls' sports, Indiana is always leading the way. I want to thank the hard work of Governor Braun and again our General Assembly. Indiana is showing the rest of the nation how it's done, and I want to commend all of the Hoosier leadership in the room today for the important work that you're doing. Thank you to all of you. I wish I could be there with you in person. Hopefully I'll see you next year. Thank you, ALEC, for all that you do. God bless.
Please welcome ALEC Chief Executive Officer Lisa B. Nelson.
day. Thank you to Senator Banks. We're sorry he couldn't be with us, but we totally understand. And dinner at the White House sounds very nice. Our next speaker is someone who personifies the American dream and understands the true value of freedom. Congresswoman Victoria Spartz, a former ALEC member, as Jonathan was talking about, now serves in the United States House of Representatives, Indiana's 5th district. Born in Ukraine, when it was still part of the Soviet Union, Congresswoman Spartz knows firsthand what it means to live without freedom, to struggle, to push, and to survive. Immigrating to the United States in 2002, she found her new home, became a U.S. citizen, legally, and earned a master's degree from the Kelley School of Business right here in Indiana. But before becoming a member of Congress, she served her new country as a member of the Indiana State Senate. There, she learned and championed the ALEC principles of limited government, free markets, and federalism, principles she now carries with her every day in the halls of Congress. Her story is a powerful reminder of why these ideas matter, why the fight for freedom matters, and why the work we do here is so important. So whether your journey begins abroad or right here at home, it's the promise of America that answers the call who all endeavor to free, to pursue opportunity, and to shape their own future. Ladies and gentlemen, let me join you in welcoming Victoria Spartz.
Good afternoon, my fellow legislators. I hope you enjoy the great state of Indiana and the heartland and a place where a lot of great ideas come. But I want to share a few things with you as a fellow legislator. You know, I know this is a very difficult job, and this is a lot of you, like in Indiana, we're a part-time legislator, you have real businesses, you have other things to do, you know, which is actually make you stronger, tougher, and closer to the people. But this is an extremely important job. Our branch brings stability, our branch brings vision and innovation, and our branch, that's the one who should legislate, because if our branch doesn't do our job, then we let other branches to infringe on people's rights. So it's extremely important for us, no matter how hard it is, to actually deliver on the bills and legislation. And sometimes it's extremely difficult to do. It wasn't easy for us. We just passed a big, beautiful bill. And there are some tough issues in that, including issues dealing with healthcare, which we have to fix. It's one of the biggest problems that we have to fix if our country needs to become solvent again, because our national debt is driven by healthcare. And I appreciate what a lot of states, including like state of Indiana, make some tough decisions to make some tough legislation. And we want to be a partner. You know, there are some legislation, you hear a lot of different things about Medicaid. No, we try to save Medicaid. We are not cutting Medicaid. We're cutting waste, fraud, and abuse in the system that these programs can exist for the people that belong. And we need to make them even better, more innovative. So we want to be a partner. You are a partner in the state, and we'll always be a partner, but we will be fixing healthcare at the federal level. There is much more. The previous speaker was talking about it. There is much more to do in healthcare, and we're going to be working on that, no matter how rough it is. And Congress has, you know, it's about muscle memories. We had not a very good one for a while, but we're getting there. So, you know, and there are a lot of good things that, you know, happening, and I think it will bring growth. President Trump is very determined to have growth of the economy and have domestic jobs and create prosperity for all Americans. And he's working very hard. A lot of issues. I've been in the White House this week. We had some tough issues, and he's truly, truly, truly worked long, long hours and dedicated to help the states to thrive and for us to be partner. But there are a few issues as a former state senator and legislator. I want to say that are totally, you know, state issues that I hope we can resolve it, because they're extremely important issues. They're issues of elections integrity. Make sure that our elections are strong and people, you know, believe the results of elections and we control it. You don't want federal government get into your elections, believe me. Terrible idea. But this is something the states need to do better. this is a state issue. Criminal justice system, over 90% of crimes are actually state. And the states need to make sure that we have the right balance, that we provide safety, but also make sure that we have a right balance and punishment fits crime, and we support our police force and support public safety and support the people. And the third issues, I think we talk a little bit about that, and it happened in Big Beautiful Bill, as Jim mentioned, but it's really a state issue. It's K through 12 education. This is a state issue. We are willing, and President Trump wants to give freedom to the state. We're going to help the states. We want to give you money that you can decide what you're going to do and how you're going to be doing your policy and raising children, and parents will have a choice, and your teachers will have a choice, and you as a state legislative, you have freedom to make your state strong. If we don't fix education, we will not have a bright future for our country. So I hope you can concentrate on these issues and help us. And hopefully, we're going to stay out of trouble, DC too much. We cause a little bit trouble. We have lots of deliberations, stay till 1 a.m. this night, but that's okay. That's a legislative process. It's okay to have deliberation. It's okay to have debate. But we've been delivering real legislation, and really important for all Americans. So I want to thank you what you do, because I know that it's not an easy job. It's not a very high-paying job, for sure. It's a great tour of duty and contribution to society, but you always remember, you can change lives for so many people. You can empower so many Americans, and you can keep our country strong, because the states, that's what keep our republic strong. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and if I ever can be help to you, please let me know, but also utilize great resources of ALEC. ALEC is a strong institution with a lot of smart people, can help you draft bills, can help you pass legislation, and share ideas, because, I go to some other states, and I see, like, every time I go to Texas, okay, they do something bad, I come back home and say, okay, we better do better too. So we compete with each other, but we also, competition brings prosperity. It makes all of us stronger. So thank you so much. Hopefully you enjoy a great state, and hopefully you have all safe. I wish you have safe journey home, and please come and visit us. And I want to thank everyone. I want to thank our legislators and Lisa for doing this event in Indiana. And I want to bless all your families, and may God bless this United States of America. Thank you.
Please welcome back Patricia Rucker.
What a week it has been, and I am grateful that this is the final time you're going to be hearing me on this annual meeting. Thank you, Congresswoman Victoria Spartz. That is absolutely perfect. Way to finish us off. I will tell you, we agree with you about those issues that the states should be leading on, and it's one of the reasons for why ALEC launched a new task force, process and procedures, that is going to be handling election integrity issues. So among all those other things you mentioned. And thank you, Eli Lilly, for sponsoring our closing lunch. You have been a great partner and a great host in our time here in Indiana. From the policy discussions and the expert panels to the task force meetings and the private sector engagement, the annual meeting has showcased what is really the best of ALEC. We've celebrated 250 years of American independence, not just with flags and speeches, but with real policy conversations rooted in liberty, federalism, and free markets. We have heard from governors and senators, small business leaders and economists, energy innovators, and financial experts. We've honored legacy, built relationships, and equipped ourselves with tools we can return home with to help us. And I want to thank each and every single one of you, our members, our sponsors, our guests, for making this event a success. And a special thank you to all the ALEC staff for working behind the scenes to make everything run so smoothly. As we wrap up, I encourage you to keep the conversations going, stay engaged, reach out to your ALEC task force directors, keep building the momentum. And please make plans to join us in December in Fort Worth, Texas for the States and Nation Policy Summit. You all know how we like to compete. I am certain, as wonderful as Indiana has been, Texas is going to want to try to outstage them. And let's continue these critical conversations, celebrate more state victories, and prepare for a strong 2026. Thank you. May God bless you and keep you safe, and may He continue to bless you in your service.